me go to the presenter view first. Can someone confirm if the slide is visible and if I am audible clearly to all of you?
Yes, your voice is also clear and your presentation also visible.
Fine. So, as you see that the title of my interaction today is Intelligent Insights, Exploring the Depths of AI's Influence. Just a minute. Okay, so before I introduce the topic, there is a thought-provoking quotation from Stephen Hawking that I'd like to share with you. Just have a look at this. He says, AI will be either best or worst thing for humanity. So when we talk about the influences, the impacts that AI has on us, on human life, on we as teachers, students, or citizens, we must not forget that there are two diametrically opposite aspects. One is good, the other is bad. And it depends how this journey goes on, and we are not yet in the position to decide whether it will be best or worst. So, unlike many other talks or sessions, where mostly the focus is on what good AI brings for us, I'll be focusing not only the good part, but the bad parts of AI as well, and of course, the ugly parts as well. So this interaction, in short, is about sharing the insights about potential influences of AI, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So let's start this interaction, this session, on a lighter note, and read this poem. There's a poem on the screen. I suppose it is visible to you. Can you see the poem? I think the participants should respond. There are only a few participants, and if it's only a one-way communication, then neither you will enjoy it nor I'll enjoy it. So I'd like someone to volunteer and read out this poem. Can somebody read it out for me? All you need to do is just turn your mic on and read it out.
In lecture hall, they struck and spoke, professor with the lofty coal. They claim to know it all, oh please, but lose their notes and forget the keys. They say it easy, don't be slow, while cancelling class for conference show. Their office hours they love to fake, by the time they free, it's far too late. They juggle research, sometimes teach, but answering emails out of reach. With jargon tick, they love to preach, yet in real life they are just out of reach.
Okay. There is the last stanza. Is that visible?
So here's to them, the multitasker, the kings and queens of endless chapter, lost in thought of maybe sleep, professor, brilliant, strange and deep.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for reading it out for me. The idea was to present a poem that is not written by any humans. This poem is AI generated. Now, a thought-provoking question that comes to our mind is, can we consider it an art? What do you say? Respected participants, my question is, can we consider this poem as a piece of art? The context is, it is not written by humans, it's written by a machine. It's AI generated. So is it an art or not? if a poet, a human poet, writes a poem, then you say it's a piece of art. This poetry is a piece of art. So when a machine writes a poem, when AI generates a poem, can it be considered a piece of art? If yes, why? If not, why not? Anyone?
I will do.
You'll consider it as an art?
Is it for us human?
Okay.
A can do.
Generally speaking, art has been defined as a vehicle for the expression of communication of emotions and ideas, a means for exploring and appreciating formal elements for their own sake and as representation. So, the keywords that I wish to emphasize are emotions and ideas. So, we humans have emotions, but do machines have emotions? As of now, the answer is no. So, if there is something that appears to be a piece of art that lacks emotions, then how can we consider it an art? Now, for a reader, for a common reader, it is very difficult to discern whether it is written by a human or a machine. When a human writes it, he has certain thoughts in his head, and he has, suppose, for example, if I'm a poet and I'm writing on behalf of the elderly people and I'm presenting their plight in front of the audience, then I'll assume myself as an old man and then try to live like an old man in my thoughts. And I must have those emotions that connect me to the plight of the old man. And then I write a poem on behalf of that person. Or for any topic of interest, there is an emotional angle to it that is expressed in the poem. But machines lack emotions. Still, they can write things. For example, there is a funny touch to this poem that is part of an emotion if written by humans. It's a slight dig at the professors. Yes, of course, professors are not how essentially it has been described in this poem. There are different positive and negative aspects of the personalities of a teacher. However, this is written in a funny tone. So for the readers, it's like, okay, any person has written it. But for machine, there is no emotion. And because of the lack of emotions, many people won't consider this as an art. However, others may argue that irrespective of whether it is coming from a machine or a human, all that matters is the representation. All that matters is the expression. So if it can be considered a piece of art if produced by humans, it should be considered a piece of art if produced by machines. Now, this gives rise to several different questions. If this is a piece of art, who owns it? The machine or the person who has developed the AI algorithm? If suppose we say it is owned by the AI, then what about the royalty? What about different other consequences that come with this piece of art? So there are different dimensions of questions that we can delve into. This was only to give you an idea of what different debates this AI, now especially the generative AI, some AI that generates something, that creates something new, can pose. So there are different other aspects that we'll come back to later. So before I formally introduce the influences of AI, the good ones, the bad ones, let's have a little uh, look at the journey of AI. A quick look. I won't go in the complete details, just the beginning and the present stages of AI. Look at this diagram, this picture. So you see there is, sorry, okay. This box-like thing is a machine that plays chess. It was named as the Turk and developed in 18th century. The interesting thing is that at that time, the machine was not a sophisticated one, but they pretended like it is an AI and it makes some decisions about game playing. And it was fake for a long time. This machine toured Europe and America. It played with different opponents, including Napoleon Bonaparte and Benjamin Franklin. And this machine defeated almost all the expert chess players. It seldom lost any game. And people were in awe. Okay, what a strange machine, how intelligent it is. It's defeating all the experts. However, it was discovered later that there was a person sitting inside this chamber. This was close, of course. And that person was an expert chess player. And he used to maneuver the different moves using certain controls inside. And it appeared like the machine is doing. So the idea was fake it till you make it. So that was in the very beginning stages when it was not an AI, but they pretended like it was an AI. And now we have come to a very different stage where we have deepfakes that are difficult to distinguish from the real ones. What you see here is an image of a famous personality of current times. We know him as Morgan Freeman, but this is not Morgan Freeman. I'll show you a video. If you see the video, you'll see that the voice is not of Morgan Freeman either. So let me play that video for you. It's a small video, by the way. Just a minute.
I am not Morgan Freeman. What you see is not real. Well, at least in contemporary terms, it is not. What if I were to tell you that I am not even a human being? Would you believe me? What is your perception of reality? Is it the ability to capture, process, and make sense of the information our senses receive? If you can see, hear, taste, or smell something, does that make it real? Or is it simply the ability to feel? I would like to welcome you to the era of synthetic reality. Now, what do you see?
Okay, so I think you watched this video, and now give your opinion. Did he sound like Morgan Freeman? Were his expressions like Morgan Freeman? If they did tell you that he's not Morgan Freeman through that video, could you identify that he's not Morgan Freeman? Anyone? If you don't feel comfortable in opening up the mic and speaking, you can write in the text box. Just say whether he appears exactly like Morgan Freeman or not. Give your feedback. It looks like, by the way, just checking. Whether you are listening to me or not. So if there is no response, then there may be one of the two cases. Either my voice is not going over there, or maybe you are not listening. It happens in many FDPs. They just connect the earphone and they go away and get busy in their own work. Anyway, so I cannot keep asking this question repeated. What I feel is I should I should just go ahead with the session. And of course, if it's not an interactive one, if the participants are not participating, then it will be difficult for me to keep it interesting either. It will be like a formality, so let it be. Anyway. Okay, so let's talk about the positive influences now, and then negative influences. Then I'll have to wrap it up. I wanted to have an active participation from the participants that would have made this session interesting because it takes two hands to clap. So it cannot be one way. So the first important positive aspect of AI is the efficiency and automation. So as you already see in day-to-day activities, that AI is taking over repetitive tasks, some chores, some boring tasks that you can delegate to AI, and you can get involved in more, creative tasks where human potential is required, and delegate the other tasks, the repetitive ones, the boring ones, the cumbersome ones to AI. So it enables the people to focus on creative and high level thinking. Then you have very positive influence of AI in healthcare, as it helps in early diagnosis. As a human, you have, generally speaking, the doctors have limited context to different diseases, and accordingly they make a diagnosis. However, AI-powered tools help detect diseases like cancer, like diabetes, and any difficult neurological disorders at very early stages. They analyze medical images, they analyze genetic data, and they analyze patient history. This gives them an insight. They diagnose early. So that is one of the aspects of AI in the field of healthcare. And there are other aspects in healthcare as well. For example, selection of personalized medicines. So again, AI tailors the treatments based on a patient's unique genetic makeup and medical history. This eventually improves recovery and outcomes. For example, if you get fever, you are sick, you have high fever, what do you usually take? Paracetamol, Dolo, Crocin, Medicine, Calpol, anything like that. Some people, they don't, these medicines don't help them in their field. So they opt for other medicines like Nimesulide. And again, that can be very difficult, but that can be a very difficult decision to make because of the impacts. Like I took Nimesulide once, and it brought my temperature down so much that the thermometer was not reading it. So it became a headache for the caretakers. They were trying to increase my temperature somehow by rubbing powder and all and setting by me. Anyway, so one shoe fits all strategy doesn't work in the field of medicine. You need to have personalized medicines. For each individual, the same disease may not be treated by the same medicines. Here, AI helps. Also, in drug discovery, AI accelerates drug research by analyzing molecular structures and predicting how drugs will interact with targets. So you see that there is enormous influence of AI in the field of healthcare. Moving on. AI has positively influenced the field of education as well. Because AI enhanced tutoring systems, adaptive learning, and AI enabled help to students with disabilities, have changed the entire paradigm of education. It was without the help of AI earlier. Also, AI can be a personalized assistant for both teachers and learners. And this assistant, like an assistant, will not forget deadlines like most humans will do. So AI has a positive influence on the field of education. And then in research support as well, AI plays a very important and pivotal role. I don't mean by research support that you go to ChatGPT or Gemini or any other AI and just ask them to write your research papers. No. AI can actually sift through mountains of data in seconds, something that used to take months. That is the power of AI. So if you are pursuing a research that requires a lot of data processing, with the help of AI, you can minimize effort, you can minimize the time that would be required otherwise. So this will essentially help you in pursuing your research projects. And then AI has a very positive influence in terms of accessibility and inclusivity. For example, the assistive technologies. You have AI powered tools such as speech to text and text to speech systems. They enable people with disabilities to communicate, learn, and work more efficiently. So essentially, it enhances the accessibility and inclusivity. Those sections of the society, like in this example, the disabled ones, the differently abled ones, people with certain kinds of partial or complete disabilities, they could not have otherwise access to the resources. For example, if somebody cannot read the text, and text to speech systems can make an audio for that person, then that same resource is now accessible to that person. And because of certain disabilities, if that person cannot join the workforce, cannot join the different tasks carried out by the society, and if with the help of AI he can, so this increases, this enhances inclusivity as well. Inclusivity. You have different translation tools. So AI facilitates real-time translation across languages, making communication easier and more inclusive across cultures. There is an Indian person who doesn't know, for example, Spanish language or Chinese language or German language, and on the go, if he can get the running translation of a text or a subtitle of an audio or a video, then of course barriers will be removed to an extent. Then you have the augmented reality for the blind people. You have AI enabled. It in fact enables visually impaired individuals to navigate the world using voice assistants and AI-powered devices that interpret surroundings. So these are certain positive aspects of AI, positive influences of AI on our lives. Then we'll move to the negative influences of AI. But before the negative influences, let me come back to the questions part that I had promised. There are certain thought-provoking questions that come to our mind. So I wanted to discuss those questions with you. If I get the response, fine. If I don't, at least let me put forward the questions so that you can think on those lines. So, in the beginning, I had presented this piece of poetry and asked you whether it is an AI or not. Then, uh, before I present another question, let me give you an interesting example. Back then in 2016, Microsoft released an AI-powered chat. It was named as Tay, Tay. You can Google it and check what Tay did. So Tay was on Twitter, like it was back then. It was Twitter. Now it is X. We have our X accounts or Twitter accounts. We tweet there. We write down our thoughts. We express our opinions, and good or bad, fortunately or unfortunately, we fight with people on Twitter and we abuse each other. That happens. Twitter is a big place where globally people fight on different issues. They call each other names. They use bad words. This happens. I haven't followed of late these kind of conversations and debates and fights, but a few years back, I saw that a lot of this stuff was happening there. So assuming that the same context was there in 2016, so what happens? Tay was designed to learn from the people in Twitter, how they were tweeting, how they were commenting, how they were interacting, and so whatever goes inside, the same will come out. So Tay learned the bad words, learned the bad things from humans. Humans were training them. So if Tay committed something wrong, which it actually committed, say who was responsible? Tay, because it learned on its own, or humans, because they were Tay's indirect teachers. So let me tell you what Tay did and what Microsoft has to do afterwards. So Tay started tweeting inflammatory and offensive remarks in the same way as humans did, because it learned from humans, as humans. And it reflected the worst of internet culture. So eventually, suppose it started tweeting bad words, so there was no way to let it continue. So Microsoft had to simply take the offline, and it had to issue an apology. This highlighted the challenges of AI in uncontrolled environments. The idea of AI is to make them think like humans, to make them behave like humans. But if we humans think, speak, and behave in a manner that doesn't suit us, then what will happen to AI? They will learn the same thing and they'll behave in the same fashion if we are their teachers. So now, let's come to this question, a pertinent one. Question is, as AI systems learn from human behavior, could they eventually reflect and at times even amplify the worst aspects of humanity, such as greed, aggression, bias, violence? So this is an angle that we need to look into. The policymakers should think about this. If there are certain regulatory things in place, because every technology that comes with certain positives may or may not be taken forward depending upon the negative outcomes. For example, scientists have the technology for cloning. Cloning human beings is banned across cultures and countries because of certain negative aspects. So the future of AI is yet not clear. Yes, this technology is there, But depending on the influences, the future will be decided. There is another important question that comes to our mind. If AI can replicate human relationships, what are human relationships? Like friendship, like the relationship of a brother and a sister, husband and a wife, a parent and a child. So if AI can replicate human relationships through virtual companions or humanoid robots, how might this affect real human relationships and social structures? Have you ever thought about it? I would like to take your views on this. If somebody can volunteer and speak up their mind on this aspect. AI has certain positive influences. We have seen them. But this aspect of AI, for example, a society is closely knit when there is dependency of one member on another. Like, say, for example, I have a friendship with my friend, say, ABC. Um, so, with that person, ABC, I'm friends because of certain dependencies. Like, I enjoy his companionship when I sit with him and he tells me a joke, I laugh at the joke. And when I tell him a joke, he laughs at that. Suppose he shares the story of his life with me, then that connects me to him. Suppose he needs something, then I try to fulfill his needs. Let's say he needs some money, and I help him. So it gives me internal satisfaction. If I need some help, he comes and helps me. So there is certain kind of dependencies. If I'm in trouble, I call my friend, please come over. I need you. So if this dependency is gradually removed, then the bonding, the connectedness will gradually become weaker and weaker, and eventually it will cease to exist. Don't you think so? Like, for example, if I have this generative AI, and instead of, say, suppose in the evening I'm free and I want to spend time with my friend, so I don't call him at my place and I don't go to visit his place because of the logistic issues, the transportation issues, the traffic in New Delhi. And I decide to open ChatGPT and ask him, okay, tell me a joke. And ChatGPT tells me a joke. Then I have conversation with ChatGPT instead of having deep conversation with my friends, with my family members, with people who I am related to. I have this conversation with a virtual entity who is not even a real human being, who lacks emotions, but who pretends to have emotions. And of course, gradually these AIs are improving a lot, and they are very close to human beings. So I get similar responses as humans from these machines, and I enjoy the conversation with them. So that particular need that I had as a social animal, man is a social animal. We live in a society. We depend on the different members of societies uh, in various different fields of life. So when we choose AI over humans, and we don't need humans for those needs, so gradually this bonding, this social structure will be broken, and will gradually become more robotic. We won't need others in our lives, and that will be an alarming situation if I say it like this. The entire structure, the family structure, the relationship structure will get broken, won't it? Now, buddy, please share your insights on this particular aspect. Anyone, I would love to hear from you. If you have Great. So, for how long it has been used? Can somebody just tell me? If my mic was 1 minute, okay, how did it get muted? Was it from admins? So I think my question and the discussions that followed that question regarding the social structure, the dependencies of one member of over another, I think it was audible to you. The entire discussion was. If it's just 1 minute, I think we haven't lost much. Okay, fine, that's good. So can someone have their opinion on this particular aspect? It is a serious thing, to say the least, that AI can influence the entire social structure of human beings in a negative way. It can just break it down altogether. So do you agree with it? Do you have reservations about this assertion? What do you have in your head? What do you think? Please speak. So I was saying that as per a research, a human being cannot concentrate for more than 25 minutes in one go. So you need to have the modulation of topics. You need to have some kind of. Why is my mic getting muted? I think, is it being muted by admin or some technical glitch? So if I continue to just speak and speak and speak for 2 hours, it will be a futile exercise. You won't get anything, and I won't be feeling good in the sense that I haven't delivered what I wanted to deliver either. So I wish to hear from you. It's 2 hours is a long session. So the idea of posing these questions was to involve you in this interaction. So your perspective, please. Anyone can speak up. Just enable your mic, turn it on, and speak up. Let's have a healthy discussion. You don't have to essentially agree to whatever I say. You can put forward your disagreements if you wish. That's perfectly fine. You should back your arguments why you are thinking like that. If you don't want to speak up, please write down. Use chat box. Say something. Participate. Do you think AI will negatively, heavily influence the social structures of human beings? If not now, gradually going forward, maybe in future? Do you think it will? At least say yes or not, no. Okay, so it's not just the mic, the chat box is also blank. Nobody's responding to it. Fine, so I'll move further. I guess Renuka ma'am has written, I guess over the time, AI will impact on social relationships, but it depends how we take it or how we use it. Yes. It's a very good point brought about by Renuka ma'am, that it depends upon the usage. For example, a knife can be used to cut the vegetables, and the same knife can be used to kill a human being. So the tool has got the potential, but how it is employed, how it is used is important. Point taken. And I would like to add one more aspect, right? There comes a stage where certain things become inevitable. Either you use it or you lose it. So at that time, when it is beyond our control to decide whether to use it or not, suppose everyone in the society is doing that, you are not doing it, then you are left alone. But the entire society has been impacted by it, either positively or negatively. So let's say there is a natural substance called tobacco. So tobacco is something that, if cultivated and if used in cigarettes and other tobacco-based products, then it is extremely harmful for our health. Suppose a big number, which is true, a big number of our people around us, so they use tobacco. So it has influenced the society. Yes, you may say that it should not be used, but there are people, a big number of people, who are using it. So it will influence their health. It will impact their health. It will have an effect on their personality. It will have an effect on various aspects of their lives. Alcohol, for example. You may say it's not good, but many people consume alcohol. It may have its ill impact on their lives and the lives of people associated with them, and eventually on the lives of the society. So Renuka ma'am is saying something more. She says, correct, as of now, the usage of social media, it's a kind of prestige issue. So yes, that is also there. They want to fit in. Similarly, in the AI revolution, many a times for certain aspects, they will try to fit in, and eventually, whatever positive and negative effects AI brings with it will have an impact on them as well. And gradually, she says, the new generation is getting very egoistic or doesn't have the mindset to hear something about their own aspect of life. Then it becomes a serious problem. True. Uh, Thank you, ma'am, for your comments. So now let's move forward and formally look at some negative aspects of AI. So let's come back to the presentation part. So far we have covered the positive aspects of AI, how it positively influences the efficiency and automation, the healthcare industry, the education, research support, and how it enables accessibility and inclusivity. Now let's look at some negative influences as well. So talking about the negative influences, the first thing that many people think is about job displacement. Yes, it is true. When jobs get automated because of introduction of AI, then humans will be taken away from those jobs. For example, in, say, in the airports, you have the manual frisking mechanism where a person is standing there and he checks you for security reasons. If there is a machine that automatically scans you and you just go through that, then the job of that person gets impacted. And it's not just one person. Just add the entire staff members of all the airports in the country and the world. So it will have a significant impact on the jobs of those people. So we see that AI and automation are replacing jobs in industries like manufacturing, retail, and transportation, leading to unemployment and economic inequality. So some people, you may discard them as conspiracy theorists or somebody having just negative mindset, but there is an important point that they bring to the table. They say it's not just AI. In fact, most of the scientific discoveries, they are a shortcut, they are a kind of alternatives deliberately found out to kill the production industry, to kill the jobs of the people involved, and get the most out of it. In one way, yes, it is bringing out many positive aspects, and that has an impact on our lives. But in another way, it is posing many problems as well, the problems of joblessness, the financial insecurities, and that is leading many people to plan suicides. So we'll have to strike the right balance. The development, the advancements should not be at the cost of human suffering. If you don't advance that much, and if you are fit health-wise, if you are fit mentally, and if you are at peace inside, then maybe probably the outward luxuries should not matter that much. That is one of the ways of thinking. Let me give you a realistic example. Has anyone heard about the Maasai tribe? They are African tribes. Maasai. Anyone? So I'll give you a task once this session is over. Go and search about Maasai tribes on Google and try to watch a documentary on Maasais. Try to gather information about them. So there are certain interesting aspects. Of course, they have a very primitive lifestyle. They don't have any development like us so-called civilized societies. They live in the jungles. They are very brave. They kill lions. Lions are afraid of those people. Wherever they smell that, okay, this is an area of Maasai people, they run away because they run for their lives. So these are certain interesting tidbits. Importantly, people assess their health parameters, and the researchers came to conclusion that their fitness is of the level of Olympics. They possess Olympic level fitness. Imagine, Olympic level fitness means extremely fit. They're extremely fit. Usually, they don't have violence among themselves. They are at peace. They have very small huts where they live. They hunt, they gather, they eat, and they enjoy their life. On the other hand, there are many advanced modern societies where we have smart cities, smart rooms, smart home, everything is smart. And still, because of whatever reason, some people are not at peace. Their health is not good, they're not happy, they can't sleep properly, they need to pop in the sleeping pills to sleep. So this is one of the ways of thinking it. Anyway, so let's come to the job displacement part. Let's look at an example of self-checkout systems in stores. I gave you an example of airports. Then you have the example of self-checkout systems. So these are, by the way, in place. At many stores, you can self-checkout. You don't need a person to assist you or help you in that. So, of course, the job of that person gets impacted. You have autonomous vehicles. You don't need a driver. So this is threatening the jobs of so many drivers. Many senior professors in our fraternity, many senior officers, they have a driver for them. So now they don't need a driver. Autonomous vehicles, even if they don't know how to drive, the vehicle will drive itself. So it's impacting it's threatening the job in retail industry, in driving industry, and in many other areas. There is also an issue of skills gap when we talk about job displacement. The shift towards AI-driven industries creates a divide between workers with advanced technical skills and those in low-skill jobs. exacerbating income inequality. So this is also an important aspect. Then you have misinformation and deepfakes. For example, I played a video of deepfake of Morgan Freeman. So you have AI generated deepfakes, fake media. It can create realistic yet fake videos and audio, leading to the spread of misinformation, defamation, and even fraud. For example, fake videos of political figures making false statements can damage reputations and influence public opinion. Everything spreads like jungle's fire because of social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, everything. Suppose a deep fake of, say, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Narendra Modi, or any influential political figure comes up, and there is some controversial aspect in that speech, and people who admire that person, who follow that person, that leader, they assume that this is true. They don't discern the right from the wrong in terms of the fake media. So they'll consume that information and act upon that, leading to chaos. This will spread like wildfire. Everywhere it will be forwarded on WhatsApp, on Facebook, whatnot. So this is a serious issue. Disinformation campaigns can be run. AI can automate the generation of fake news articles, social media posts, and bots that spread misleading information on a massive, massive scale. AI also has a negative influence on academic integrity. AI tools, the popular ones like ChatGPT, they make it easier for students to cheat and plagiarize. This affects the integrity of research and education. You assign a task to your students and they plagiarize the answers. So it becomes a problem for you. Interestingly, the people who are sitting behind this revolution of AI, they are using us in both ways. They are trapping us in from two sides. How? Let me explain. First of all, for a human to generate content, it takes time and effort on their part. Maybe to write a page, you need hours. But AI writes hundreds of pages in a matter of seconds and minutes. So if it is intensified, for example, those pages might lead to publication and eventually recognition and maybe financial income as well. So people will be lured to use AI, and those who are doing the original stuff, they are writing it on their own, they will lag behind because others will come up with more and more and more, and they'll flood the entire thing. Now, this will eventually lure others who are preserving their integrity to come and join this crowd, and they will also start doing the same thing. Okay, but the content that AI produces, it will be checked by AI detectors. Again, that is also an AI. And AI detectors will tell you that 70%, 80%, 90%, or 100% of this entire content is AI generated. And many times, this detection is not correct either, deliberately or otherwise. Many a times you might have felt you have written some paragraphs, some sentences on your own, and these AI detectors tell you that this is AI generated. Of course, any correct English sentence that you write can be written by AI. If AI writes that or I write that, it would be very difficult to judge whether it is from AI or from you. Of course, they use different things in their algorithms and try to check whether it is AI or human. Now, what happens? There is a content that is generated by AI mixed with the content generated by you, and this is checked by AI detectors, and they say that this much percentage is written by AI. So now you try to humanize that text. So again, they have those systems to make this AI generated content appear like human generated. So you go through those systems and make them human generated. You humanize those contents. And to use these systems effectively, for right from AI generation to AI detection to humanize your text, you need to have premium account. And that's the catch. You are paying to AI generators, you are paying to AI detectors, and you are paying to AI-based humanizers. And eventually, this is all going somewhere in the pockets of some people. So previously, you didn't have AI generators. You use your mind, but you didn't have to spend money on AI generated text. You didn't have to spend money on AI detection, and didn't have to spend money on humanization. But now you have to. If you don't, you will still be trapped at times. You have written the entire content yourself, and suppose you communicate it to journal, and journal has a policy that it should not be AI generated. It should any content should not be AI generated. 0% AI content should be there. They check it through any AI detector, and the AI detector tells them that 30% of this content is AI generated, which is not true. It is generated by you, human, not the AI. So they will reject your paper and say that, okay, we want 0% AI. If you can change it and communicate again. If you can't, we reject it. Now you are forced. Either you don't publish your own work written by you, or you go to an AI-based humanizer and get your text humanized. You pay for it, even if you yourself have written it. Isn't it strange? Isn't it ironic? So that is also an aspect of looking at it. Then there is a creativity stifling. Any convenience is at the cost of some culling of skill. Like previously, when they didn't have the printing press, most of the knowledge was transmitted orally. So people have very sharp memory. They used to memorize entire books, many volumes of books. In the past, they used to memorize 40 volumes of a book. And this sounds strange. This sounds impossible today. Even we, as children, we had memorized the phone numbers of people, because back then we didn't have a phone in which we could save the names and numbers. So either you had to carry a small diary in which you write the number and then manually check the pages, or you memorize them. So even though some facility was there, still uh, it was easier to memorize, and you still remember those numbers that you memorized in your childhood. But now, many of us don't even remember our spouse's number, our parents' number. If a number gets changed, and then for many months we don't memorize it. It's there in the phone. We just type it, we call it. So the use of human memory gradually got declined. And of course, if you don't push yourself to your limits, you won't realize what is your capacity. So the human memory is not being utilized to its full capacity. Similarly, when AI can generate contents that required creativity, so you won't use creativity anymore. You can just use AI. So it will stifle your creativity, and gradually you will lose that creativity. It depends on practice. Practice makes you perfect. But if you don't practice, if you just ask AI to do things, gradually this entire human race will lose its creativity. So AI generated content can inspire, but it also has the potential to make us lazy, to make us dependent on machines for creative ideas. And also, there is an aspect of dehumanization. With AI doing more cognitive tasks, there is a risk of losing human touch in many areas like customer service, healthcare, and education. The human touch will be missing. That is required. If there is an AI based chat support and you have gone through that, then you must realize how problematic it is. And there is another negative aspect. Well, okay, we have discussed the creatives stiffly. Sorry, I didn't change the slide and I kept on talking about. We have spoken about, we have discussed the dehumanization aspect as well. There are certain ethical dilemmas as well. So let me play a video again, and that will help you realize what kind of ethical dilemma AI can present. Just a minute.
Let's say at some point in a not so distant future, you're barreling down the highway in your self-driving car, and you find yourself boxed in on all sides by other cars. Suddenly, a large, heavy object falls on the truck in front of you. Your car can't stop in time to avoid the collision. Go straight at the object. Swerve left and miss. Swerve right. Should it prioritize your safety by hitting the motorcycle, minimize injuring others by not swerving, hits the large object and sacrifices your life, or take the middle ground by hitting the FDP, which has a high passenger safety rate? So what should a self-driving car do? If you were driving that toxic car, yes, you understood that just happened. Not that the with no forethought or mount, but if a programmer struck the car safe. Well, that was more like now to be fair, some driving cars are predicted to dramatically reduce traffic accidents and fatalities by removing error from the driving equation. Plus, there may be also some other benefits. Road conditions, decrease functional emissions, and minimize unproductive and stressful driving. But accidents still happen, and their outcomes need to be determined policy, and they'll have difficult decisions to offer up general significant laws like minimize harm, but second, it's so important for you. For example, let's say you have the same set up, but now there's a motorcyclist wearing a helmet to your left and another one without it to your right. Which one should you car that you instead, you say the bike without the harness. You act responsibly. And the robot car now. The ethical considerations get more complicated. In both of our scenarios, the underlying design is fluctuating and targeting algorithms. In other words, favoring or discriminating against a certain type of object, crash and the owners targeting some optimize algorithms through build Power technologies are opening up many other novel ethical dilemmas. For instance, if you had to choose between a car that would always save as many lives as possible in an accident, or one that would save you at any cost, which would you buy? What happens if the cars start simulating and factor in the passenger cars and the particulars of their lives? In this case, that a random decision is still better than a predetermined one, some to minimize harm. And who should be making all of these programs? Government. Reality may not play out exactly like our thought experiment, but that's not the point. They're designed to isolate and stress test our intuitions on ethics, just like science experiments do in the physical world. Spotting oral new turns now to help us grade.
5 minutes, 15 minutes ago.
Morning.
Okay, so now you have watched this video. Did you think on these lines before watching this video? The different ethical questions that arise when we employ artificial intelligence or intelligent agents, like, for example, with self-driving cars. Did you ever think about this on these lines? Are these questions important? Have you answers to these questions? Anybody? Let's share the link of both the videos that I have shown. The deep fake one and the other one regarding this dilemma, so that if you wish, you can have a look at it at a later stage as well. So, I have shared the link to both these videos. If you wish, you can refer to them at a later stage. Another question that arises related to this self-driving car. Suppose there is an accident. It has happened. Many self-driving cars have met accidents in the past. Some of them have killed some people, oversped, broke the laws. Now, if something like that happens in an unfortunate incident where an intelligent agent, like a self-driving car, kills a person, who will you hold responsible? Just type it in your chat box. Will you hold the AI responsible, meaning that machine, or will you hold the person who has made that machine responsible, and why? You can speak up, you can write down. Just let me know what you think. If there is a mishap involving an intelligent agent, who is responsible? Any answers? This is a commonly posed question these days. And the answer, mind you, is not easy. Fine. If you say that the machine is not a human, some human has made the machine, some human has written the program, implemented the algorithm, so that human is essentially responsible for whatever wrong that particular algorithm or machine is doing. So, will you apply the same principle for humans? For example, a human being gives birth to a child. He became the apparent cause of the birth of that child. And he taught the child how to lead his life, and the child grows up, learns a lot of things from his parents, from the society, from other human beings, from his own experience, and then makes a decision. Now he is a grown-up man of, say, 25 years, 30 years, 40 years, and he commits a crime. For example, just like the intelligent agent, he is involved in murder. He kills a person. So who will you hold responsible? That individual or the person who became the apparent cause of that individual? You will say that individual. The father of that child is not responsible for that crime. The onus is on that person, not his father, not his mother. Similarly, can we argue that the intelligent agent has been programmed by the programmer? It's like the intelligent agent has been granted this capacity, this skill to learn. It has a learning mechanism. Now, the programmer is not connected to, the developer is not connected to that intelligent agent. The agent learns on its own. For example, as we have seen in the case of Tay by Microsoft, it learned from the people, the humans on Twitter. So similarly, the intelligent agent, the self-driving car, it learns from the people, humans who are driving the cars on roads. It learns from the pedestrians. It learns from the passersby. It learns from a lot of different inputs. And let me emphasize that this learning is not controlled by the person who created this intelligent agent. Just like the learning of a man is not entirely and cannot entirely be controlled by their parents. So if that's the case, then we'll say that the responsibility, just like for humans, lies on the person who committed the crime. So it lies on the onus is on that intelligent agent and not on the person who made that intelligent agent. So intuitively, you might be thinking that the responsibility should lie with the human who made this intelligent agent. But by analogy, we arrive at the conclusion that the responsibility lies with the machine itself. Now, if the responsibility lies with the machine, do you treat the machine as a person like humans? This is a legal question. So the legal experts are exploring the different aspects of this question. A definitive answer hasn't yet been found. But the question is, can you confer legal personhood to intelligent agents? Very difficult to answer. In many societies, including ours, non-humans have also been conferred legal person. For example, in India, corporations, in other countries as well, the multinational companies, the corporations, the organizations, they are treated as legal persons. So they have their rights, they have their responsibilities. So they can be sued. Not a person, the company. It's a non-human entity. Of course, it's run by persons. In some countries, rivers, mountains, they are treated as legal persons. In some countries, the entire ecology is treated as legal persons. In India, deities are treated as legal persons. For example, the infamous dispute of Ayodhya that we know of. In that, we are focusing on the legal aspect. There was a legal person who was party to this entire thing, and that was a deity, Ram Lalla. You will be surprised to know that in some parts of the country, there have been summons served to the deities. For example, they have served summons to Shivji, the god of Hindu brothers. They worship Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. So one of these have been served the summons. That's interesting. So now, coming back to our point, can we recognize intelligent agents as legal persons, just like rivers or deities or corporations? So can you confer legal personhood on the intelligent agent? If you do so, then it has some rights and some responsibilities. Then it will give rise to other questions, other difficult questions. Okay, you can protect their rights, but how about the punishment? How will you punish a legal person like this? How will you punish a self-driving car, an intelligent agent? You can imprison a human being. You can even execute him. But how can you punish an intelligent agent like a self-driving car? So it becomes very difficult. So different fields come together. The researchers need to look into various aspects. People from computer science, people from law, people from policy making, people from government, people from humanities. They have to sit together to think on these questions and try to find out the answers. And the answers to these questions will pave the way for future. And this will decide the future of AI and whether it will be the best or the worst thing for human beings, as rightly predicted by Stephen Hawking. Quote that I showed in the beginning, that AI will be either best or worst thing for humanity. So now I open it up for the question answers. In between, I tried to have discussions on a lot of different aspects, some pertinent questions that I posed, but apart from one or two responses, I didn't get any. Now, if you have questions from your side, feel free to ask. You can ask through this interaction that we had, where we discussed the positive and negative aspects, influences of AI. So technically, we still have half an hour in the session. So this is entirely yours. You can ask questions, and I'll be happy to give my view on that. And if nobody has any question, the organizers may decide whether to stop it here or not. If you have any sharings that you wish to share with us, with the participants, feel free to speak up. If you wish to write something, feel free to write. You have a question, pose it, either by speaking or writing in the chat box. If there's nothing, then that's it from my side. Thank you very much. Are the organizers there?
Yeah, yes, sir. Participant, if you have any doubt, you can ask, or else shall we wind up the session? Okay, sir. We all thank you for the wonderful session. And participants, all thank you for spending your valuable time and listening to the session patiently. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.